Okay, you can go ahead and get started.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for inviting and receiving me here today. Today we're going to be talking about how AI advances are revolutionizing project management, and of course, we have here a little bit of an agenda. I try to stick to the agenda as much as possible, but sometimes it's a bit. I have a lot of content that I would like to share, so I might skip some slides to go a little bit on things that I think it's quite nice. Uh, just a little bit about myself. My name is Allan Rocha. I'm father of two, living in Copenhagen, Denmark. I'm actually a Brazilian guy. I love tennis and chess. Been working with project and portfolio management for over 20 years. And I think it's quite interesting because I came from a computer scientist degree, and my first job was with project management, and from that time I could never stop it almost. So I love it. It's in my passion. Been doing this for quite some time. I'm today a director at Fellowmind, which is a European company with over 2,000 employees. We work with Microsoft technologies. I'm also quite proud to be an MVP for Microsoft, which stands for Most Valuable Professional. And I have earned this is an award that Microsoft gives to some people that contribute to the community. And I have been holding this for 15 years in a row. So it's quite something I'm proud, and really gives me access to go to Microsoft in Redmond and really talk to the people who is really developing these products. Being part of the partner advisory council for the project team at Microsoft, and I actually wrote 3 books about Microsoft projects. So they are 790 pages each. So it's like I'm also quite proud of them. So that's a little bit about myself. And then, if we look at how we see today the life of a project management or a project manager, you can see a random project manager just trying to find the promised land. So I think we are all been there. And what is quite interesting is for many years we've been looking at all the frameworks, and you have to know a little bit of these frameworks. Just don't stick to them 100%. I think you have to find your own tailor way of working with them. But then we now have Copilot, we have AI, we have Open AI. All this is just revolutionizing whatever we have in the way we are working. And I'm going to give some insights actually on how these advances are changing not only project management but in everything else. So a short story about AI. We what we call AI, it's not really new. It's something that it came from the mathematics over 50 years ago. And I do have actually my own experience with AI from the time that deep learning and neural networks came into play. So I started studying this actually since, of course, I did computer science, so I learned statistics and some of the things. But when I applied to my real life and professional life was actually in 2018. I actually created, together with 2 other friends, the first chatbot AI powered, I would say, machine learning tool for project management PMO. The name is PMOto, and actually, if you access right now, we do have a little bit of a taste that you can use directly in OpenAI on ChatGPT. So I learned a lot at that time, and one of the things I also learned at that time was you need to have a lot of data, at least at that time, to start building AI. Quality of data, it's so important, was so important, and most important, data was very expensive. So for us to become a product that really helped all PMOs and project managers in the world, we had to either purchase data or get people in the community. And that does not really work when you're working with enterprises and organizations. So it's something that changed, which now with generative AI, it's a completely different story. Generative AI is just like you have almost a lot. I just heard that the new model O1 preview from OpenAI actually has almost every PhD in their knowledge base. So that's something that really, really changed. If you are working with AI, or if you want to actually be part of, you can already imagine that investments are doubling, are tripling, are quadrupling. So they are over skyrocketing on every organization right now. It is top priority for every organization I've been working with, including Microsoft and our own company. And there is a lot of research in AI fairness and transparency, which is something that you're going to see in my next slides. It's something you have to be aware to have your own judgmental analysis of these models. AI technology is here. There is nothing blocking us to actually build those things. I would say that the age of AI is now, and it will not change. The way and how we see for the next years, by 2026, actually 80% of the enterprises will have a combination between AI and a human expertise, which means if you look in a general landscape, it will make every industry 25% more productive. How that can be spread in different areas and industries. And I think that's also a quite interesting graph, which you can see what will initially be the most impacted industry, but also what is the average. If you look at legal, if you look at even artificial architecture and engineering, all these are really going to be impacted. And you're going to see in the end of this presentation, I have made some kind of a quiz for us, which it's basically, we will replace a human being or not, and you're gonna be quite interested of the results because it's gonna fit really well with this study that I have here. And then what employees want from AI, and it's really interesting to understand, and most of the time you want to find information, answers, do the job that you actually don't need to do or don't want to do part of analytical work that sometimes can take a lot. Administrative tasks also help with creation, so creativity and planning, not only their day, but also their projects and way and execution and tasks. The question that really everybody is asking is what leaders actually want from AI. And it's quite surprising, but not that much, that organizations and leaders, they actually want 2 times more to increase employee productivity than actually reducing headcount. So humans are not being replaced, is the opposite. It's actually humans are key for improving that productivity. So keep that in mind. And also, if you think that what is needed for actually these new employees, or what leaders expect from the employees or the resources, the humans that are working, it's new set of skills. And since you are born or you are actually living this revolution, you already have to look at some of these skills like analytical judgment, actually emotional intelligence, creative evaluation, intellectual curiosity. So really important. One of my first tips is just go out there and try. Don't use sensitive data, but go and try with your own hands and be curious. It's really, really important. Then you can also see things that like, bias detection and handling. This is something that we see already, and it's quite important that you have that judgment in place. So this is just summarizing the data. And if you look at, we are changing now. We are in a transition that from people working side by side to people working side by side with AI. So we're still going to be working with other humans, but now with a lot of support from AI. That is a very nice question that I want to have to everyone in the audience now, and keep that in mind. This is something that I've been in the industry for over 20 years, and we always have had modern tools, but we keep working with traditional business processes. So we have been actually every year there is a new version of a project 2016, project 2013, or you get project operations, but we have not changed our traditional way of work, our business process. And this is something that is naturally, I'm changing right now. Every time I'm doing a task, I am personally changing my ways and my traditional processes because I'm adapting to AI. I would say the opportunity is yours to lead this AI transformation, or to be even kind of a more accurate, the opportunity is ours to lead this AI transformation. Keep that in mind that AI is just evolving so fast. I just tested now the new OpenAI with voice, advanced voice, and it's incredible. And just one example is I have two children, and they speak Danish. I speak Portuguese with them. And when I have to help them with their Danish exercises, I use OpenAI with voice, and it just nail everything. It's mind-blowing. So be creative, be curious. It's for us to actually lead this transformation. Now, let's go for some practical applications. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to navigate to different business functions, key processes, and then we are going to draw some scenarios that AI will be helping with specifically project management. Okay, so we know AI is empowering every business function. We are going to focus today on the projects and operations. What are the key processes and key functions we see out there on sales? We are going to focus today on project management. So we are going to be talking about communication, planning and analysis, execution and delivery, team and resource management, budget and costs, risk management and compliance, monitoring and control, change and quality management, performance reporting, and also stakeholder management. You might ask, but Allan, there is missing some key processes here. I think we can always find some. I try to consolidate what I think is most relevant, and you see that I'm going to bring scenarios for each one of them, but I have also a template in the end of the presentation where you can start designing and finding your key processes and then some areas that might support or need some AI improvements. Another quite interesting, I would say, number is if you look at the AI assisted for projects in operations and finance, 70% of people working with projects or accounting report that they are actually the biggest bottleneck. It is the manual work. And today, a lot of this manual work that I'm going to be demonstrating for you with live demonstrations, it's going to show how these 70% of people can take advantage of AI. Okay, so let's take a look. How is going to be the dynamic of the presentation? And again, this presentation is to be done in 1.5 hours. We have only 1 hour, so I'm probably going to skip some parts in finance, but we can actually look at each one of those and go back if you have some questions. I have a surprise in the end of the session, which is something really nice, but yeah, let's go together, okay? What I made it here, and that's part of the template I'm going to share later, is how you identify the key processes. Then you have the before AI and after AI. So let's look at communication. Emails, instant messaging, just getting very inefficient when you have to always tone down or you need to elaborate or read an analysis. How this is going to be after AI? So email drafting and coaching assisted by AI. And we're going to see some things that I'm going to show in a minute, which is incredible. Intelligent meeting recap. We are using, as we are showing this session right now, we are going to get minutes of meeting completely designed, elaborated by AI from our script and transcript. Instant chat summary. So imagine someone just jumping into the call and he would like to catch up with the meeting. You can already do that with AI. Planning and strategy. Very important that we understand the frameworks. You have to read 5 books to actually get that knowledge or maybe consult them all the time. Strategy execution is really complicated because you have to align with your goals, how you define your goals properly, and this always slow down the processes. So what we see is after AI, frameworks will be fully assisted. You can just say, generate a project chart that on PMI standards or on Prince2 standards, aligning resources in your tasks and activities with goals that's specified for that specific project. You can now build realistic plans by just asking AI to help you with that. Oh, but Allan, I never made a plan before. A project plan with work breakdown structure. We're going to show you live how you can do that. And even delivery prediction, it's also already being used. So on the execution and delivery, we have, first of all, the execution progress reporting. It's fully handled manually. Each one person does in a different way, or you have to kind of collect the data from multiple sources. You can already automate all these reporting processes. It's mind-blowing. And you cannot even identify some of these strengths for the team and suggest improvements to the execution time, live, and ad hoc. If I look at team and resource management, resources are the key components for a project, or most of the time it is actually what can really damage the project. So allocating resources manually before AI always resulted in inefficiency. I have a great example. I work a lot with the engineering company, and basically everybody knows an engineer, and everybody puts that engineer on their project. So that engineer needs 300 hours a month to actually fulfill all the needs because we are just doing a manual way. So suggestions to get the right people, the right project team at the right time will come directly from After AI. Optimizing resource allocation, looking and giving you the best out of, but not only looking at the project plan, taking into consideration aspects that are outside your project can be done after AI. Promoting and sharing some of this information, generating some of this information automatically for you. And this I use it a lot, and I don't take credit for this specific scenario because it was one of my colleagues. If you can gain industry expertise. I'm going to have a meeting with this specific customer on the automotive industry. You can actually ask, how can I make my presentation on the terms that will make sense for an automotive industry? Quite interesting. So budget and costs, and I think we all need to still pay and have a full control of our costs on whatever project you are. So invoicing process and budgeting are not only time consuming, but extremely susceptible for errors. So what if we can create, adjust, and identify how my next budget will be better just using AI and even automating invoicing? That's something that is already been released by Microsoft. Risk management and compliance. So, risk management is really complicated. Everybody knows it has to be done, but in reality, very little people do. So I personally believe that risk assessment is crucial for a project success, but at the same time, it's a lot that you have to take into considerations, plus following up on those risks. And they're performed manually. And most of the time, you have to go back in time in other projects. What if we can ensure that all the rules, compliance, and automatically checking within my project, performing a broader risk assessment for my projects, and generating automatically contingency plans that are, if you look at it one by one, they are 90% better, in 90% of the case, better than what a human has actually done it. Monitoring and control, tracking and report progress is, like I said, extremely complicated. And when you are running a real project, making sure that you actually monitor your project scope and ensure alignment with the objectives that you have initially promised, it's really complicated. This is after AI, how you're going to do it. I'm going to show you in a minute. Tracking projects proactively, progress and projects, generating status reports and performance reports. Then we go on a field that you can have 1,000 business cases. And I see every day people surprising me, which is documentation and collaboration. So handover, training material, technical documentation. Nobody likes to do those materials, even though they are essential for a project success. So what if I can have AI automating my project briefings or generating a full presentation of a project handover from the actual project scope and project plan, or even specify what are the skills needs and generate or create or suggest some training programs to my users. Change in quality management, identifying changes, and quality assurance is again always on the last on the priority. You have a specific time in the end of the project to check that quality or validate. Really complicated. People has been neglecting this for many years, and even generating test plans. So a great example, which I'm going to show a little example below, but basically from a developer presenting a new solution and an application to you, you can automatically generate test plans that are accurately with what was presented in the session, giving to the quality guys or the Q&A what they have to look and what they have to validate. Very, very nice scenario. And then stakeholder management, how you can actually ensure that you're collecting feedback. Feedback, in my mind, one of the most important things to grow, to improve, and to really adjust the tone of everything you're doing. Right now, you have to actually look for a standard way, or how am I analyzing the right questions here? Is this taking too long for my stakeholders to actually fulfill or answer? We are going to generate, in one of the demos I have, actually a full form of collecting feedback from stakeholders based on suggestions of the type of project I have. And of course, you can always start monitoring and managing stakeholder relationships, having AI helping you with these interactions, make them even healthier. For each one of those boxes, I'm going to select the ones I believe are the most important or the nice ones, and I'm going to show how this looks like in a live scenario. So let's start by communication, and then on communication, let's dig into email drafting and coaching. So again, everybody knows a well-written email makes a big difference. If you are asking for funding, if you're asking for anything, or if you're trying to communicate, if you overwrite, it's complicated, or if you underwrite, is also going to be damaging. So how we can actually have this? So let's take a look using Microsoft Outlook. I will look at this massive email that I have received, and what can I do is starting using AI to just summarize that email. We'll get very concrete, and because these are large language models, they are very good in how to identify and really assess that information. Now I have to make a reply, and why not just put my ideas in a draft with Copilot or AI, and then say, okay, generate an email for me. Basically, AI will make sure that you have a concise way of presenting that information, and you are allowed to always modify. Remember, the judgment and always analytical processes of what is generated by AI, it's crucial. Email is sent, everybody's happy, I made my day. In a minute, I got that information summarized, and I have replied. So how we can go one step further? So I have a draft email, which I've been writing down, and still all my ideas are very spread out. It's a very, I would say, large email. Nobody's going to read this, or even I need to also understand that this was written 2 weeks ago. How I can get coached by AI to adjust the tone for the audience, to actually understand the reader's sentiment. So if this is a sensitive topic that might require me to adjust all this being coached by AI, do I need to improve on clarity? All that information in your hands from a draft that you made yourself. To be honest, sometimes also in your interpersonal relationships, having AI helping you to kind of do better in communicating, I would definitely also take that into consideration. Instant chat summary with real-time conversations tone. So this is also, I think everyone is using this right now. Basically, you have a Teams meeting, you're running that meeting, you can already enable Copilot, and you can start say, okay, I missed a few minutes here. Can you recap this meeting so far for me? Automatically will create those key points, all that information from the meeting. It will be in a very easy to understand way. So what if I can also say, okay, but who actually mentioned that specific topic? I would like to know. It will identify from the audience who actually made that. Even if you are on an auditorium, it can recognize the name of the person by the presenter just saying the name, even though he is not coming from his own computer. So very, very powerful way of recapping on those meetings, and request for even what should I ask related to this and that specific project. Copilot is going to help you on that. One final one on meetings. You go on a team meeting, you actually would like to make a recap of that meeting. This is already there. You can see who has been actually interacting in the meeting on a graphical visualization. You can use Copilot, and I love those meeting notes because they are outlined, which I really respect. It makes my brain understand much easier what is actually being translated. On every meeting I'm running now, the action items that it's actually being generated by AI, they are extremely accurate. They are to the point, they helped a lot, and they will find the right information in the right time. Really, really highly recommend you using this on every interaction you are having through Microsoft Teams. Jumping into planning and strategy. So how we can actually get a project plan, and from that project plan, align the activities that I have with my goals. So if I just go to a project plan, I can ask Copilot to say, okay, create a few goals or 5 goals for me. It will automatically look at that information if you have some information or goals already defined, and it will not only generate the goals for your project, but it can also link them to specific activities in your project plan. What I'm using here, I have a map in the end of this presentation showing every tool that you are going to use and which AI you should use to achieve that scenario. So don't worry if you don't know what I'm showing. This is Microsoft Planner. the previous Microsoft project. By the way, I made a post this week that it has changed actually. I think was 18 times over the years. So it's quite fun how the name of these products change. Imagine you have to build a new project, but a project plan that it has to look professional, and at the same time you're not experienced, you don't know how to work with the right structure, where and when things should be before of each other. So AI can already do that. So this is one example in Dynamics 365 project operations where I can straightforward generate enterprise plans based on history information of my projects, including the details I have added. But then we also have created, because remember, you can always extend AI in your own benefit. So we have built something using Azure OpenAI, and this goes a little bit beyond. So I have my business case where I can define how important this project is. Then I would like to generate a plan. Now the user has the ability to actually say, okay, please use the project manager or the state of the project I am, and make the project plan speak as a Viking, and it will do that. You can define the size of the project, is this budget approved or not, and in seconds you are going to get a complete generated project plan. And this is a custom solution, so you don't get this like Copilot out of the box. We have to build it, which allow us to actually look at your all projects. We can look at the market stands. We can do anything here. It's really, really powerful. On execution and delivery, let's take a look at how you can automate some of the reporting processes, for example. And believe me, you're going to need to actually generate a lot of project status reports in your life if you are running a project or any activity, giving the status, having active communication and clear information. It's crucial to have a healthy relationship with anyone in your project. So how can this be done? I can go directly into Copilot. I have a project plan. I have project budget, actuals being worked. In seconds, Copilot will generate an extremely accurate report. You can look in the details. It's 13.51% completion. It will tell you all the details of the budget, what is missing, what is not missing. You can add your own notes. And this is just gonna change how people are going to report the progress and the projects. Because now Microsoft has already announced you can define what are the components in this status report. You want AI to do it in a fraction of a second. And I just have one more time a look at this because it's quite impressive of the type of information that is being generated by these status reports. And then imagine, again, if you think about manual work that humans do not like, is time registering. It is one of the most, I would say, manual processes. You have to go there, you have to identify, find emails. Developers, they don't like to do this on a weekly basis, but you have to do it. AI is going to change how this is going to work. So let's take a look. If I just go now and inside my Dynamics 365 project operations, I would like to say, okay, create my weekly time entries. Oh, is last week, is this week, is next week? No, let's take current week. With a click of a button, AI is now looking at everything that I have planned. It will automatically tell me the date, number of hours. I can validate that information. And with a click of a button, there you go. My time entries will be created and generated. So 10 time entries created for you with almost minimum effort, only analytical effort. So if I just refresh my time registration, there you go. Oh, Allan, but this is never going to work. Oh, you can still adjust. But what if, Allan, if you need to get comments, you have to actually provide some information of what you did. If you're working on support cases, or if you're working with a customer which require that comment, that specific information for each hour, which it's quite normal. Actually, AI is going to be doing this for you as well. So I can just come and say, add my external comments. So now it will actually go on all existing time entries you have for the current week as I have selected, and it will generate all comments that are professionally written. You can validate them before. So I can actually see for each one of these tasks, what is the comment that AI have generated for me. This can take hours for you to do it. And one more time, the human has to still do a proper analysis here. But once I have added, comments are completed and attached to each one of my time entries. If I look in details on each one of them, you can actually see comments are there ready to be sent for my project manager. Very, very powerful. Team and resource management. So one of the things that is extremely important for every project is finding the right fit for your project, which means I have to actually understand in my head as a human experience fit, skill match, maybe what is the previous progress and performance of that availability of that resource. I have to look at 10 different places. What if you can just go into your tool, because you have all your resources there, your project data is there, it will automatically suggest the right project manager or that specific resource that was required, tell you a score, which is based on all these components, and even suggest, okay, I can just book this resource is available. This already exists. This is not only using automation, but also some AI behind to help us, but automating that process is going to make the life of everyone very easier. So let's jump into budget and costs. And basically, everyone has to make a budget, if not personal, but maybe professional. And also, everyone loves Excel. So why not do that? And I'm going to show you how you can improve your budgeting for the next projects just using available tools we have today. So I made my budget inside Excel. Everybody has access to Excel and knows Excel. I can first of all make this a little bit more attractive with AI suggestions for graphs and analysis and charts. And from that time, I can go a little bit deeper and say, okay, I want to explore this data and generate a pivot table for it. No problem, nothing extraordinary here. But what if I can also start asking questions about that data? And for example, how can I make, what are the most, costly expense I have in my project? Pay attention that it's not only answering the question, but it is automatically generating a formula for you that will help you on next future projects. So once you apply that formula, this is not AI doing more. It did the job for you instead of you finding on Wix or internet how you generate that formula. It will also automate a lot of your work. So creating a project chart, I can now have a different visualization, manipulate that specific chart that I'm working with. And look at this. What if I ask, how can I make this budget save some money for the future projects? It's a question that you might think, okay, that can take a little bit, but remember, AI is looking is a systematic tool. It look at the figures, and the answer is quite surprising, which will just tell you, based on your budget, based on your operating expenses, these are the items you have to look and why you have to look at them. So look at this. It assumed that you have some positive variance within few items. So you did not spend all the money, so you can actually save this money on your next budget. That's a great example. I'm not going to spend time on the finance part, but there is something called Copilot for Finance, and it's really also quite extraordinary. It's fascinating to see how it can really do the cash flow forecast, identifying some of the items on your generate a summary report for you to be used, financial period close, and do all the reconciliation of data, what has been actually exposed, what has been invoiced. And if you also look at planning, it will help you generate your forecast and validate with actuals what are the representative items that you have to look, including some statistics to help you make better analysis. It's really there, and I think there is no way back, to be honest. And I have a great example about this because uh, I also don't take credit for it, but someone told me, like, when a GPS in your car arrived, uh, we all kind of use it, but you had a map, you look at the map, and then the GPS came, and then you were a little bit reluctant. Today we don't even look. You put in your GPS and you just follow it. Of course, the human is still assisting, but a GPS is a great analogy for this. I think we are going to go on this GPS kind of a mode in very, very short time. Risk management and compliance. So I have a great example just helping you analyze your data. How can I just go and identify now for all my projects, the project that has the highest risk of failure? It will look at all your projects, will tell which project you have that has the highest risk, but you can go further because these tools are getting smarter and smarter. So you want to actually see maybe the top 5 highest risk projects and get that in your visualization so you can generate a report out of it. And AI, it's now not only analyzing this vast amount of information, but it will not tell you which projects they are. You can access them directly or create a page. You can see the Copilot icon in the top with the top 5 highest risk projects. Also, AI risk assessment generation. If you look in the source of each one of those risks that are for the sustainable product on biodiversity, they are all AI suggested. Microsoft actually Copilot, and again, if you do not use Microsoft, this can be achieved with any large language model. So I'm using Microsoft because it's the product I know, I trust, and I've been working a lot, so it's easier for me. But behind the scenes, the models are pretty much the same. Any type of integration can be achieved with any model or any product you have out there. And this is not only generating risks and assessing the risks for this project, but it's creating a description, risk probability, mitigation, and contingency plan for all these risks. Impressive. Then imagine you are writing something or you need to generate a proposal, and that proposal includes some terms and how you can actually use AI today. You just go into your Microsoft Outlook. You can refer to a document and say, generate a payment plan contract for this company using this document as a reference, and it will immediately draw that contract for you. It will not only assess you and give you the right information as the referred document, but it can also say, okay, what is missing? And we will suggest you some of the items. You can say, make these or rewrite those terms, maybe following Danish law. I personally use this sometimes in Denmark. I would like to know what are the regulations for using baby seats in my car. I don't search for that anymore. I just go on AI, and which will even give you the source reference, which is usually a governmental website. So really, really powerful. You can do this already today. Monitoring and control. So I really love this demonstration as well, because one of the things I learned in life is it's very difficult to actually keep a project or steering a project to the right direction all the way to the end. So how you ensure the initial scope is being actually followed? How you can do this today? Basically, you can have your project in an Excel file or coming from a planner file. I added a task here, which is not part of my original scope, just to highlight how powerful this is. I have a project scope in a document following PMI methodology, and then I will just say, compare my scope information document with my current project execution, and it will highlight for you what is out of scope, but you can go even further. You can say, okay, what if, please show only the items that have been impacted or are differing with higher variance from the scope, and summarize for me. It will nail down, and you can start have this dialogue with your assistant with the variance in days. These are the tasks and the tasks that were not initially on the scope. This could take weeks for you to identify. If you have a bigger project, this will be done in a second with AI. It's really going to save you a lot of time. And also, what about generating documents or presentations based or tailored for your project? You can already do this today as well. You go in your PowerPoint, you say, okay, referring to this project scope Word file, generate a PowerPoint presentation, and it will, in a second, generate an entire presentation for you. You can apply, make your changes. It's not only generating the full slide deck, but also notes on each one of those items. Again, I think this is also going to save a lot of time for a lot of people. I personally do not use that. I like my skills on PowerPoint as it is today. Therefore, I see the high potential of creating some training materials out of this. Change and quality management. So if we look at how can I generate some test plans based on a specific list of requirements? And what I'm talking is a list of requirements that usually come, it's 5,000 items. You can just link or attach that extraction of requirements. This one is coming from Azure DevOps, from a car app development project. And please generate the test logs, the quality assurance checklists, and the steps that has to be followed. It will take you a second to actually go through all these items. It identifies what is a requirement, what is a feature, and it will create for you that information. And I don't know if you noticed, this is a tip for everyone who also loves tables. I would say show as a table, because AI will demonstrate and render that information as a table for you. So I can also say, generate this as an Excel file, and AI will create an actual file. Then if we go into my last key process, which is the stakeholder management, how can we create instant forms and collect, analyze feedback data using AI with suggested questions, including also how you can quick evaluate that information. This is also free for everyone, is Microsoft Forms. And when you create a form, it will automatically recommend you some questions that have to be asked in order to actually fulfill that need. It's not only making a very powerful form to collect that information based on recommended professional questions, but it makes easier for everyone to answer. So if I go to answer now, it will even identify the right, I would say, way to interact. So I have a box, I have a text box, then I will have a matrix in the bottom, then I have a star scaling to make the life of who is providing that feedback easier and easier. And AI will just go further and improve this after time. Also, how can I ensure that all this information is well evaluated? It will even give you that information, generate some cloud charts for you, telling you what is the keywords that were more relevant, where you have to improve or they are extremely satisfied. This is not even an AI. This is just a tool helping you do your job easier. So, also due to the time, we still have 15 minutes and I think we are going to cover all. I have here something that I think is valuable for anyone who wants to jump into a project management career and understand what AI can help you. I have all my key processes. I have the scenarios I have designed and elaborated here, and I'm going to give you the KPIs, how you measure if AI is helping you or not in that scenario, including the application and which AI tool you're going to use. So, how can I be better in maybe having a quick and clear instant messaging? So response time for instant messages, it's a way for you to track your, or maybe number of emails sent with clarity and accuracy. You use Microsoft Outlook and Copilot. Basically, will help you and do that job for you. I don't think I need to go through all these items because they are self-explanatory, and you probably have access to this. I can share the presentation as well. I also have the legend of each product in the bottom. So I rather have a surprise content, and then we have some Q&A in the end, okay? But again, I have made for all key processes. You have all the information here to be evaluated and check it for you. And as a plus content for everyone, I'm sharing here a blueprint for function template. This is going to help you design your ambition and how you can improve your key process with AI. Basically, you define the different phases and you have access to this. If you scan this QR code, you can download this template. You define the different phases and try to imagine how you can initially have high value with short speed, boosting the impact, and then in the end, reimagine. Remember the question I asked in the beginning, how can we reimagine or reinvent our traditional process? That will be our phase 3. You draw your key process. Let's start with 3 key scenarios, 3 each, and then functions. I need to improve on my financial, or I want to improve on productivity, or maybe, I don't know, how I can have employee experience improved, and AI solutions. Use and abuse of this template. It's going to be helpful for anyone. So if you don't have anything at the moment. So also to close, AI transformation will definitely shift what is, mundane or simple manual tasks to a high complex judgmental task. You need to actually understand what is being generated because it can be somehow incorrect. Having the ability to ask AI properly, which is prompting. There is a new job in the market called prompt engineering. Everyone should know. In the past, I used to say, go Google it. Have you Googled that? Now is, have you prompted? Because how you're asking makes a big difference on the output. One thing we already know is AI transformation is not just about the technology. It's already increasing revenue. It's optimizing costs and is helping all of us thrive. We are getting better with AI, and we are actually, you can probably finish your tasks earlier, go home earlier, and have a completely different life, improving productivity and also having more flexibility for yourself. The opportunity is ours, and again, I think that's quite something for us. We have this opportunity to lead the AI transformation. I have brought a testimonial here, but I think this is for a very experienced project manager. She's covering a lot of the AI capabilities that I mentioned. I think I'm not going into this so we can save time for the surprise content and also for Q&A, okay? Unless you guys want to watch it, but it's going to take 7 minutes and then we are over. And I rather address the surprise content, okay? And then we have Q&A afterwards. So if we had no time, I will end here, but we do have time. And look at this. I built this last week. I had to do a presentation about AI and revolutionizing. So I used my own knowledge on project management to build all the content you have seen before with the support of AI as well. But then I decided, how can I go further and potentially just, bring something out of the box, thinking different. I actually built a PMO. And if you don't know what is a PMO, is a project management office. It's actually what structures the work of a project manager. I have built a completely game in minutes using AI. I'm not a developer for over maybe 17 years. I have done it in the past, but definitely I wrote 0 lines of code to get this game to work. And then you can play it. I'm gonna, in the next slide, you can actually see and play by yourself. But the game is actually an interactive, endless simulation. You as a project manager on a quest to collect PDUs. I don't know what is PDUs, but I saw in your website you have some points. PDUs is also points for some specifically, if you need to get a certification in project management, you actually have to have some PDUs. So you have to attend and do some exercise and watch some material before. All the instructions are here, so feel free to take a look at them. And this represents a lot of what we see today in a PMO. And I actually have made a post, which I will share in the end, where I teach you how to make this game by yourself if you want to create from scratch. So the key component here is it's not only very functional, this game, it will teach you some capabilities of what people do or as a project manager does, but also show what AI can help you in panic situations or damage control situations. It reflects some of KPIs in terms of productivity, satisfaction, risks, and quality, but most important, it is actually fully functional. So take a look here. I don't know if you guys can and I also made it work because I can show you the prompts I have used. I have a link that I actually probably can share on the chat right now. And the link teach you step by step how you can create this specific game. So let me just get here and I'll paste it a link with the step-by-step for everyone. And please let me know if you got access to the game and you can play it. It should be available to everyone. And if I go to the chat, there we go. There is a link in the chat teaching you how you can make it and how the game look like. So it's quite fun. You have a PMO, you are a project manager, you have to collect some frameworks. So I have to learn about half double, PMI, safe. Oh, I also need to generate risk assessments. Then my risk KPI changes. And basically I always have to keep learning. But when I finish to learn everything, then an explosion of other things, optimizing resources, creating a project plan, or maybe, and then now you have to generate status report. You can ask Copilot to actually, in a minute, do it all that for you. And Copilot will start actually, if I click the panic mode, look at what happened. It will automatically enable Copilot delivering everything, and the PM can spend time with what is really important, actually teaching the team members and talking to them and engaging with the people around the project while Copilot does all the job for me. And I think that's what I have for today. Thank you very much for all of you that attended to the session. And yeah, feel free to ask any questions. I'm here to answer them. Hope you liked the presentation. I hope I was not too fast. I don't have native English, but I hope it was okay. Okay. And if you have no questions, I still have one extra surprise content to share. Alexander, maybe you can tell me, because if you do not have any questions, I have this kind of a overview of all AI advances, real case scenarios, what they actually, which framework they belong to, and if this will be replaced by AI or not. So you guys tell me, questions, or you want to see the we will replace it summary?
Please feel free to unmute if you have any questions. Seem like that there are any. I do have one question for you though, Allan.
Go ahead.
So we have sometimes some problems with making sure that we have like very effective meetings, where a lot of the times you kind of think this meeting could have been either like an email or we could have just talked about it on chat. We didn't actually have to spend so many minutes on it. Can Copilot help deliver some meeting guidelines?
Oh, yes, 100%. If you're not using Microsoft Loop today, because you are the owner of this meeting, the organizer, if you click on notes, it's going to create something called Microsoft Loop. Loop is the new way of collaborating through the Microsoft, I would say, platforms. And you can just ask, generate an effective meeting. And then I'm going to tell you something even further, which I have seen it with my own eyes, is not available yet, but you can now, using Copilot, after you have maybe a recurrent monthly meeting, it will tell you which user or which person has not contributed with that meeting on the last three. You might save the time of that user by not inviting. It will be suggested by AI. And it will even, if someone start, okay, I want to play the game and I'm going to speak on every meeting, just so I have, keep being invited to the meeting. AI evaluate also the relevance of each person's, I would say, expressions, each person's interaction with the meeting, and can say the relevance is lower than expected comparing to the rest of the meeting. That person potentially could save time to only have a recap of the meeting. So both what you ask, how can I make meetings more effectively? Click on notes right now. You probably have a Copilot button and say, please give me an effective way to run a meeting that will look at this and that type of information. It will generate an agenda for you. It will create timings of when things should change between the topics. And you can always evaluate. I don't know if you have seen, but if you go to your recording, I think you need Teams Premium for that. All chapters of the actual meeting and when things have been discussed, it's already there. including, you can say, generate, after this call, for example, if it was a 1 hour presentation, you can actually go and say, generate the 3 minutes video of the most impactful key processes for a project manager running a project as a student. Please, it will create a video in 3 minutes showing the most important parts of the whole hour for what you're asking. It's probably a student who wants to engage with project management. So it is out there. I don't know if I have answered completely, but I tried to cover 3 different topics. Okay, did that answer your question?
Yes, that answered it completely. Thank you.
Nice. So we have 3 minutes. One thing I want to say, actually, before the question, all these tools I have showed here, you can try for free. So actually, if you go Planner trial, Dynamics 365 trial, all of those you are able to try for free and play around with this. I don't know if you can do the most advanced Azure AI for free, but I believe you can actually, most of the products and apps I have showed here, you can try for free. I saw someone was about to say something and I interrupt. Please continue.
Oh, no problem. Do we have time for another question?
Yeah, of course. We have 2 minutes. I have another meeting starting at sharp, but we have 2 minutes. Let's use all the time.
That's perfect. It's a question we got in a private chat, and the person is having troubles writing on Teams. The question is, how can I practice project management during my studies?
Yep. So I have to say, AI can help you on that, but I would say even further than AI, you have to look at these frameworks. So first of all, you need to understand the type of project you are going to be running, because if you are going to be looking at types of projects that are for oil plants, you're going to be practicing project management in a direction that you don't need. So you first need to identify the niche of projects you are going to be running or executing. From that niche of projects, you can ask AI which frameworks existing in the market are suitable to run projects with this type, which could be maybe it's a PhD or it's a funding request. You have to understand the type of your project. Once you have that, I highly recommend, and I think there is nothing blocking anyone to do project management, because you can do project management without any tool. You can do using Excel or Google Sheets or anything for free. You have to understand the initial basics of a project, which will come from the frameworks, and then you go for a tool. If you want, you can even do on a paper and start executing on it. One example, my marriage. When I got married, you have to invite people, book the venues. You have to. I got people coming from Brazil, so I have to track the project, the air tickets. I did a full project plan for that. It's fun. I still think I have this post out there if anyone is curious, but it's mainly understand your type of project, what are the basic requirements for an existing framework, and try it out. That will be my advice. Can you use AI for that? Absolutely. You can already ask the same question to AI. Probably will give a better answer than what I said. But this is my personal opinion. Okay. Hope I have answered your time. And we are just on time. And I can only say thank you all for this session. Alexander, thank you again for the invitation. I hope it was useful for everyone. The recording it's to you guys to use it and to share with your colleagues. And if you have any questions, ping me on LinkedIn. I'm always available. It's always a pleasure to help in the community. That's for me. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
This
very
was
much.
awesome.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And for the MSU students, please make sure that you sign up for the event so that you get points using the Fellowmind XAI code. And that will be all. Have a good weekend, guys. Yeah.